So here we are. We're going to go over the Kimura on the opposite arm. But first, before we go over the Kimura, we're going to eliminate this arm from Coach Ethan because this arm is going to come to help this arm when this arm's in trouble. So this is the kill position. Here I am in my traditional side mount. I'm going to switch my hips. So when I switch my hips, I reach back and I grab his wrist with my thumb down. So I did all that just to grab his wrist. Once I grab his wrist, I switch my hips back. I know it's a lot of switching, but when I switch my hips back, my top leg slides my shin over his bicep. And make sure that instead of my knee pointing towards his head, I flare my leg back. And at this point, you ask Coach Ethan, hey, can you remove your arm? And if you can, it's not quite tight enough, or you go back and get it again. So I've eliminated this arm from the equation. This is called the kill position, by the way. Terrible name, but that's what people call it. Once this arm is eliminated, I'm then going to go attack the opposite arm. When I attack the opposite arm, I'm going to pick up his shoulder, and I'm going to chalk my arm underneath his shoulder. That makes me control him a little bit better. I'm going to remove this other hand, and I'm going to reach over and grab his wrist. Sometimes you have to pin the arm first before you slide and grab the wrist. But much like the regular Kimura, when I grab the wrist, I want to bend his arm as best I can. Here, when you do this, there's a tendency of your elbow being up. Make sure your elbow's down. Now I'm going to try to grab my hand with my other hand, my wrist with my other hand, excuse me. Now my arms are short and I can't grab it because my arm is around his shoulder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk to his elbow and keep my hips low. That allows me to bend his arm even better and grab my wrist. So one wrist grabs his wrist, the other wrist grabs my own wrist. And remember, his arm is bent and I'm strong and I'm leaning forward. Now for me to get the Kimura, all I have to do is gently lift up his shoulder, and there I have it. If they are super flexible, they won't tap from this position, especially if they are kids. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my hips and I'm going to walk my leg over his head. Now I walk it like a little spider over his head. That allows me to pin Coach Ethan's head to the ground while I'm lifting his arm. This is only when they're super flexible.